Hello students, good morning. Welcome back to Relief Tutorials. In the previous lecture we have discussed about speed, types of speed. Average speed is the most important term for us. Average speed means total distance travelled upon total time taken. The general formula for average speed is this: S1 upon S1 plus S2 upon T1 plus T2, this one. If we have only two parts of the journey, we have discussed this type of problems. This was the first problem we have seen. In the last also we have discussed that how we can convert kilometer per hour into meter per second and meter per second into kilometer per hour. When you are converting kilometer per hour speed into meter per second, you have to multiply that number by 5 upon 18. And when you are converting meter per second speed into kilometer per hour terms, you have to multiply that number by 18 upon 5. We have also seen some practice regarding this. Now let us discuss more example on this type of problems of average speed. Consider somewhat different problem I am going to ask you. Consider these are the two parts of the journey. Okay. The distance from A to B is 100 meter. One of the particle traveling from A to B with the speed of 5 meter per second. Speed is given. The particle is traveling continuously with 5 meter per second speed, and the first part is completed, and that distance is 100 meter. Distance between B to C is 200 meter, and the particle travelled this distance with the speed of 10 meter per second. Question is, find average speed. We know the formula for average speed. Let me write here. Average speed VAV. Here we have two parts of the journey. So it is S1 plus S2 upon T1 plus T2. But if you see carefully here, in the first part, we have given two informations. This is speed for the first part. So, for the first part, what we can write the data? The speed V1 is given as 5 meter per second. And distance S1 is given as 100 meter. In the second part, speed V2 is given as 10 meter per second and distance S2 is 200 meter. We have to find average speed, and the formula for the average speed is S1 plus S2 upon T1 plus T2. We have S1 and S2, but we don't have T1 and T2. Then how can we find VAV? So first of all, we have to find T1 from these informations of first part, and then we have to find T2 from the second part, and then we can find average speed. So how can we find T1 here? We know the formula for the speed. Can we write V1 is equals to S1 by T1? We have the value of V1, we have the value of S1, T1 is missing. So make T1 as a subject of the equation. Take this T1 here, and V1 will be in the denominator. So therefore the next step is T1 is equals to S1 by V1. Put the values. T1 is equals to S1. S1 is 100. So 100 meter. Otherwise you just add 100 upon V1. V1 is 5. So 100 upon 5 is 20 seconds. So T1 is 20 seconds. Same way you can find T2 from this information. Now you can use the direct formula for T2, that T2 should be equals to S2 by V2. Therefore, T2 is equals to S2 is 200 meter upon V2 is 10 meter. 10 meter per second. Therefore, T2 is equals to this 0 cancelled and 20 seconds. Now we have S1, S2, T1, T2. We want to find average speed. So now we can write the formula VAV is equals to S1 plus S2 upon T1 plus T2. Therefore, VAV is equals to S1 100 plus S2 200 upon timings T1 20 plus T2 20. Therefore, VAV is equals to 100 plus 200 300. 300 upon 20 plus 20 40. This 0 get cancelled. 2 2s are and 2 15s are. 15 by 2. So the answer is 7.5 meter per second. So VAV means average speed here is 7.5 meter per second. So it is not always necessary that you have been given the information of always S1, S2, T1, T2. Sometimes someone is missing here. V1 and S1 is given, T1 is missing. V2 and S2 is given, T2 is missing. So first you find T1 and T2 and then you write the formula and find the answer. Now we want to analyze the questions we have solved. Look at here. The first problem we have solved in the previous lecture. What we found V1 is 25. What is V2? 50. Mathematically, if you find the average of speeds, average of these two speeds means 25 plus 50 upon 2. 25 plus 50 upon 2. 50 plus 25, 75. 75 by 2, I think it is 37.5. So average of these two speeds is 37.5, but the average speed answer is 40. Please listen to me carefully. This answer is of what? This answer is of average of these two speeds, and this is the average speed. So two words are different. Average of speeds and average speed are the two different terms. Here average of speeds, for example, a mathematical example. For example, you are getting 25 marks out of 50 in first test of science, for example. In the second, you are getting 35 marks out of 50 in the second test. So what is the average marks you are getting? So first exam you are getting 25, second exam you are getting 35. So average of marks. So what you are finding? Average of marks means what? How many marks you are having? Two types of marks, 35 and 25 divided by 2. Sum of the observations upon total number of observations. Sum of both the marks upon two tests. So 35 plus 25, 60, sorry. 35 plus 75, 60. 60 upon 2 is what? 30. So what this 30 is? This is the average of marks you are getting. Same way, the first part having the speed 25 km per hour. Second part of the journey having the speed 50 km per hour. So the average of these two speeds means it is V1 plus V2 upon 2. So if you are finding the average of these two speeds, the answer is 37.5, but the average speed is different from that. Okay, so one thing. Second thing, here if you note, in this example that recently we have solved, if you see the speed for the first part is 5. Speed for the first part of the journey is 5 meter per second. Speed for the second part of the journey is 10 meter per second. So if you find the average of speeds means V1 plus V2 by 2. If you find like this, what is V1? It is 5 plus V2, it is 10 upon 2. So 10 plus 5, 15. 15 upon 2 is 7.5. And look at the answer here. It is 7.5. So here, if we find, in this example, if we find average of speeds, we are not getting the same answer as average speed that we found from the formula. But here we are finding the same answer. If you find the average of speeds, that is equals to VAV. So these two are same. V1 plus V2 upon 2 and VAV are same here. But here they are not same. Here they are not same. Here 37.5 and here 40. They are not same here. Why it is happening? Here they are not equal, and in this example they are equal. The reason for that is what? Here if you see, the time intervals are same. So whenever the time intervals are same, VAV can be found by this method also. This formula for VAV is only applicable when time intervals are same. Here the time intervals were different. What was the time interval for the first part? 2 hours. Time interval for the second part? 3 hours. So in that case, average of speed and average speed both are different. So we can make a note, and it's a very important formula to remember. Let me make a list for the formula. It's very important. Please make a notes of that. VAV is equals to S1 plus S2 upon T1 plus T2. This is the general formula. This formula is applicable everywhere. Now another formula. If time intervals are same, if T1 is equals to T2, then what? If T1 is equals to T2, then VAV also can be calculated by average of speeds V1 plus V2 upon 2. Means if T1 and T2 both are same, then you can use this formula also. Remember, this formula is a general formula. You can use anywhere. You can use this formula anywhere, but this is a shortcut method. If you find T1 is equals to T2, then you can use this formula also to calculate the average speed. Same way, we have one more condition. If S1 is equals to S2, then what? Then we have another shortcut formula for that. That VAV is equals to 2 V1 V2 upon V1 plus V2. This is the shortcut formula. If you find S1 is equals to S2, if distance traveled in both the parts are same, you can use this formula also. Let us take this example. Let us say these are the two parts of the journey. In this, S1 is 100 meter. In this, S2 is also 100 meter. Speed for the first part is 10 meter per second. Speed for the second part is 5 meter per second. And the question is, find average speed. we will do this sum by two ways, by the general way and also by the shortcut method. First of all, the general way. We have to find the average speed, and to find the average speed we can use this formula S1 plus S2 upon T1 plus T2. Okay, S1 is given, S2 is given, V1 is given, V2 is given. What is missing in the first part? T1 is missing because we need T1. So how can we find T1? We had a formula that T1 is equals to S1 by V1. Therefore, T1 is equals to, what is S1? S1 is 100 upon V1 is 10. So I think the answer is 10 seconds. How can we find T2? T2 is equals to S2 by V2. S2 is 100 and V2 is 5. So the answer is 20 seconds. So now we can find average speed. VAV is equals to S1 plus S2 upon T1 plus T2. Put the value for VAV. S1 100, S2 100 upon T1 we found as 10 seconds plus 20. So 100 plus 100, 200 upon 30, 0, 0 cancel. So let us keep it as it is. 20 by 3 meter per second is the average speed we found. Sum is over. But now let us use a shortcut way. If you note here that here S1 is 100 and S2 is also 100. So here S1 is equals to S2. So second method to do this sum, once we found that S1 is equals to S2, we can use this formula, which is what? VAV is equals to 2V1 V2 upon V1 plus V2. We have the informations of V1 and V2 already. So in the second method we don't need T1 and T2 to find. Directly we can write VAV having the formula 2V1 V2 upon V1 plus V2. Put the values. 2 into V1. What is V1? V1 is 10. Into V2. V2 is 5. Upon V1 plus V2. V1 is 10. Plus V2 is 5. So here all are in multiplication. So 10 5s are 50. 50 into 200. 100 upon 15. 5 3s are and 5 20s are. So answer is 20 by 3 meter per second. So can you see both these answers are same? So we can find VAV if we have S1 is equals to S2. If we have S1 is equals to S2, then we can find VAV by this formula. So these are the very important list of formula. This is the general formula that we can use anywhere in any sum. Okay, if you find T1 is equals to T2, then you can use this formula. If you find S1 is equals to S2, then you can use this formula to get the answer quickly. Is that clear? Now based on this, we have to solve some more problems. Let us see some problems. Consider, here is the two parts of the journey. First part having the distance 70 km. Second part having the distance 70 km. First part, the particle travels with the speed of 30 km per hour. and on other half the particle is traveling with the 60 km per hour. Then find average speed. For the first part we have been given S1 means distance 70 km. V1 speed is given as 30 km per hour. S2 is again 70 km. V2 is given as 60 km per hour. We have to find average speed. Here if you observe carefully, here S1 is 70, S2 is 70. So here S1 is equals to S2. Therefore, VAV can be calculated by the shortcut formula. Here if S1 is equals to S2, then we can use this formula. So same way, VAV is equals to 2V1 V2 upon V1 plus V2. Therefore, VAV is equals to 2 into V1. V1 is 30. So 2 into 30 into V2 is 60 upon 30 plus 60. Here all are in multiplication. So 6 3s are 18, 18 2s are 36 and 2 zeros. So 3600 upon 30 plus 60, 30 plus 60, 90. So 0, 0 cancel. 9 4s are 36. So answer is 40 km per hour. So this is the perfect answer. This is a shortcut way. If you don't remember this note, if you don't remember this, then we have already general formula. We have S1, we have V1, T1 is missing, so you can calculate T1 first, then you can calculate T2 first, T1 calculate, T2 calculate, then you can use VAV is equals to S1 plus S2 upon T1 plus T2. That formula is always open for you. Is that clear? So these are some important examples. Before going further, we have to understand two terms that we will see in the next session.